Hi, Alicia.
Hey, Jared. Welcome back, everyone, to Vibrations and Manifestations.
So today we're taking a deep dive into something that it feels really relevant,
Mm.
especially lately, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's that feeling you get when life just gets heavy. Not just a bad day, but when you're really in, like, survival mode.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you're just exhausted, maybe overwhelmed, maybe even just numb.
Right.
And the whole idea of manifesting your dreams, it just feels totally out of reach because, well, getting through the basics.
Like remembering to eat.
Yeah. Or honestly, even brushing your teeth sometimes. It
Yeah.
feels like this monumental task. Impossible.
And that, it brings up this really big question, one we've both kind of wrestled with, I think.
Definitely.
When you're in that state, are you messing everything up? Like, are you blocking your own good stuff because you can't vibrate higher and whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Is this intense period, this time of just trying to survive, actually part of the whole journey? Is it even possible to tune into something new when you feel like you're barely, hanging on? That's exactly what we want to get into today. This conversation is really, for anyone out there who feels like the usual bright, shiny manifestation advice just doesn't fit right now.
Yeah, like it doesn't connect with your reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you still maybe hold on to like a little flicker of belief that things can change, even if you have no idea how.
Because let's be real, life isn't always, vision boards and perfect gratitude
No,
journals.
definitely not. Sometimes it's just trying to put one foot in front of the other and hoping you don't trip.
And we know this not just as an idea, but like from living it. We both have moments from our own lives that really speak to this exact thing.
Right. I remember this period, it wasn't even that long ago, where I honestly felt like the law of attraction just packed up and ghosted me.
Yeah, like, sorry, you're not vibrational enough for me today.
Totally. I wasn't doing the things, the shoulds. No journaling, no visualizing. Definitely wasn't feeling high vibe.
Just existing.
Just existing, yeah. Trying to remember to eat, breathe, keep it together for other people.
Right.
While inside, I felt like I was just kind of crumbling. It wasn't that I'd stopped believing in the magic or alignment, but I had no idea how to get there. From where I was, it felt miles away, like across this massive canyon.
Well, yeah.
I remember sitting on my bed, just staring at the wall, totally paralyzed.
Yeah.
My to-do list felt like some kind of cruel joke.
Oh, yeah. Been there.
And the thought just looping was, how am I supposed to manifest anything good when brushing my teeth feels like a boss-level fight?
That's such a perfect description. The boss-level teeth brushing?
Right. I felt completely left behind. Like, everything I thought I knew about manifestation just wasn't working. I felt paralyzed.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive the day. Every single day. I really felt like I was doing it all wrong.
That feeling of inadequacy, like you're failing at spirituality itself, it's heavy.
Exactly. Just pure exhaustion. But then something shifted. And it was tiny. Not a miracle, not some big win. Just a little crack of relief.
Okay.
I remember Abraham Hicks teaching about the emotional scale.
Yeah, the ladder, you don't have to leap.
Yes, that concept. That emotions have different energies and you don't have to leap from the very bottom to the very top all at once.
Right, it's about steps.
It was remembering that, even moving just one little notch up could change things. And the thought that came wasn't, powerful or particularly positive. It was just asking myself, okay, what feels just one notch better than this?
Not aiming for joy, aiming for
Yeah.
less numb, less heavy.
Less numb.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need to go from despair to pure bliss. You just need to reach for a slightly better feeling thought.
Just the next rung up.
So I just lowered the bar,
Wow.
completely.
Yeah.
Didn't aim for joy. I aimed for less numb.
Less numb, that's achievable.
And I just whispered to myself, barely audible, I'm tired, but I'm still here.
Wow. Simple.
That was it. That was the little thought. I'm tired, but I'm still here.
Yeah.
And somehow that whisper, it was enough.
Enough for what?
Enough to get this tiny surge of energy. Enough to push myself up and just go outside.
Okay.
Not to meditate or script or anything grand, just to sit on the steps in the sun, feel something warm on my skin.
Just be.
Just be. And no, I didn't manifest $1 million, didn't even write in my journal, but I started talking to myself a little softer.
That's huge, though.
It was everything looking back. Giving myself permission to just be there, tired, in the sun.
Yeah.
That was the start. Because survival mode, it isn't the enemy of manifestation. It's often the ground where it starts to grow. You're still attracting, still shifting based on what you're willing to let yourself believe again. Even if it's just, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm tired, but I'm still here. It felt incredibly small, but also incredibly honest.
But that honesty, that small thought, it gave you just enough energy for a little action, right? Not meditation, not visualizing.
No, nothing like that. It was just walking outside and sitting in the sun for maybe 5 minutes.
Just feeling it.
Yeah, just feeling something warm on my skin. No agenda, no journaling, no goal setting. Just being present with the exhaustion and that tiny, tiny whisper of, I'm still here. And that felt like the start of something. That small act and talking to myself just a little bit softer.
A shift happened, not because you forced positivity onto yourself.
No.
But because you gave yourself permission to just be where you were, while acknowledging that little flicker of resilience.
It made me realize that survival mode isn't some, failure state that blocks manifestation. It is part of the process sometimes. It felt like being in a cocoon,
Dark and quiet.
Yeah, dark, quiet, everything feels paused. But even in that state, you're not static. You're still becoming something. You're still maybe attracting based on what you're willing to believe or reach for, even if it's just a tiny bit of relief. So if you're listening and you're there right now, where your whole spiritual practice is just drinking water and breathing, please know you are not failing. You're becoming. And you're definitely not alone in it.
Wow, yeah. That resonates so much. It's funny how the core feeling is so similar, even if the outside stuff looks totally different.
Right.
My version of hitting that wall wasn't really paralysis. It was more like frantic over-efforting.
Oh, interesting. Like trying too hard.
Totally. I honestly thought if I just tried hard enough, focused my mind intensely enough, I could just steamroll the negative feelings or situations.
Right. Override them.
Exactly. I was reading everything, writing affirmations till my hand hurt, visualizing like crazy, like really sweating from the mental effort.
Wow.
But the energy behind it all, it wasn't trust or joy. It was pure panic.
Trying to fix it.
Trying to fix my life, force it into alignment because I was terrified of how lost I actually felt. I didn't see it then, but I'd turned my whole spiritual practice into this high-stakes performance review for the universe.
Oh my gosh, look how good I'm being. Reward me now.
Pretty much. Look how hard I'm meditating. Look at my vision board. Impressed yet? Can I get my rescue package now, please? Trying to force manifestation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, from a place of just pure panic and exhaustion, I started seeing my spiritual practice less like connection or, gentle co-creation.
Yeah.
And more like a performance review I was desperately failing.
The spiritual hustle. I know that feeling.
Totally. Trying to override everything I actually felt by focusing harder, writing affirmations more intensely, visualizing with just sheer willpower.
Thinking you could just push through it.
Yeah, I thought if I could just get the vibration right, fast enough, I could somehow avoid the messy, scary reality of feeling lost and completely burnt out.
And how did that work out? The hustle?
Mostly just burnout. And a whole lot of shame, actually. Feeling like, well, if I was a good manifester, I wouldn't be in this mess in the first place, right? And the fear of doing it wrong just piled on more pressure.
Like you were failing the universe, not just yourself.
Exactly that feeling. And then I had this breakthrough moment that was, well, it definitely wasn't what you read about in the spiritual self-help books. It was weird.
Okay, tell me about the park incident.
Right. So I was walking in the park trying to just ground myself, trying to be present. Not in meditation, not at a workshop. I was just walking in the park trying to get some air, trying not to think about my problems for 5 minutes. When someone literally comes out of the bushes and just shoves me.
What?
Yeah. No warning. Just Russell, bam, shove.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. I was fine. Just startled and frankly scared, ran off, heart pounding. But it wasn't just the physical fear. It was this wave of existential dread.
Like seriously?
Exactly. Great. Even when I try to just ground myself in nature, chaos literally jumps out of the bushes and gets me.
I cannot believe that actually happened.
Right. Like an unexpected kind of jarring existential shove from the foliage. It was bizarre.
Oh my gosh.
And I felt awful, obviously. Shaken up, small, not just physically, but emotionally. My first thought was something like, great. Even when I'm trying to just exist peacefully, chaos literally jumps out of a bush to find me.
Wow. So your attempt to ground yourself was met with a bush ambush.
Pretty much. And I went home and just sat on my front step feeling completely defeated. And in that moment sitting there, something shifted. It wasn't a sudden download of cosmic wisdom or anything. No, I kind of gave up. Something inside just gave up. Not dramatically, no big declaration, just a quiet internal slump.
Like letting go.
Yeah. I sat there looking at the sidewalk and just thought, okay, I surrender. I have no idea how to fix this. None. But I'm open to something new.
Wow.
That was it. Again, not aiming for joy, right? Just aiming for relief. Relief from the pressure of trying so hard.
Yeah.
And that quiet moment, dropping the spiritual hustle, dropping the need to perform alignment that cracked it open.
It shifted something.
It shifted everything. I stopped trying to impress the universe and just started being real. Let myself sit there rattled, feeling kind of dumb for being scared of bushes.
Well, understandable.
And weirdly, that's when things started to loosen up. Because alignment, it turns out, isn't about pretending you're above fear or anxiety.
Right, it's not about faking it.
It's about being honest enough to meet yourself right where you are. And sometimes that place is, yeah, sweaty, anxious, and maybe mildly bush traumatized.
Mildly bush traumatized.
But if you can get to that point of just saying, okay, I'm here and I'm just open to something softer, you've already shifted.
Oh my gosh, the bush incident. Wow. But you're right, it wasn't the shove itself, it was the surrender that came after.
Exactly. That moment on the step, I surrender, I'm open. That's where the shift was.
It's amazing.
I thought, I honestly don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to force myself to get high vibe, but I'm open. I'm open to something else.
You dropped the rope. You stopped pulling so hard.
Yes, exactly. I stopped reaching for joy or abundance or perfect peace because that felt impossible. I just reached for relief. The relief of letting go of all that pressure I was putting on myself. And that moment, dropping the spiritual hustle, dropping the need to perform, it cracked something open. Things started shifting after that. Not because I faked feeling good, but because I finally started being real. I let myself rest. I met myself exactly where I was.
We both had these completely different experiences. Quiet paralysis for me, external chaos for you.
Yeah.
But the catalyst wasn't forcing some big breakthrough. It was permission.
Permission, yeah.
Permission to stop the hustle. Stop trying to earn alignment or positivity when what we really needed was just safety, rest, just being.
And I bet so many people listening are feeling that right now. They don't need another person telling them to just think happy thoughts.
No. They need to understand what's actually going on in their system during survival mode.
Right. And how manifestation can still work with that state, not against it.
Absolutely. Let's really dig into that because survival mode, it's crucial to get this. It's not just a bad mood.
No, it's way deeper.
It's a full body, full brain thing.
Yeah.
Mental, emotional, and deeply neurological.
Yeah.
You're not being lazy. You're not unspiritual.
No, you're in a legitimate biological state of self-protection. Your nervous system, that ancient part of you, has basically flipped the switch to high alert.
Fight, flight, freeze.
Yeah.
Or fawn.
Exactly. Fight might look like irritability, pushing back. Flight is anxiety, wanting to escape. Freeze is that paralysis, the numbness we talked about. And fawn is that kind of people-pleasing tendency to try and feel safe by appeasing others.
And it's not a conscious choice. It's biology putting safety first.
Totally. Which brings us right back to that core question. Can manifestation actually happen when your body and mind are locked down like this?
And the answer is yes. Right. But maybe not how we usually picture it.
Definitely not like the Instagram highlight reels.
Your body isn't being lazy or trying to resist good things coming in. It's actually activating this powerful self-preservation program. It thinks it needs to protect you.
Think about it. When your sympathetic nervous system is flooded with stress hormones, it's prioritizing immediate safety. All your resources get diverted. Energy isn't really flowing towards like expansive creativity or open-hearted connection.
Or feeling safe enough to dream big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's focused on keeping you alive through what it perceives as danger. So your body needs safety first. It doesn't need more pressure to visualize a new car when it feels under threat.
So, okay, if your system is basically wired for survival in that moment, how can manifestation even happen?
Well, the principle we've sort of found is that you can't just override those deep biological protective responses with positive thinking alone. It doesn't quite work.
It's like trying to build a fancy mansion on a foundation that's currently got flashing red lights and emergency barriers up.
Exactly. You know, there's that saying in energy work, you can't get there from there.
Right.
You can't just leap from the feeling, the vibration of absolute despair straight to the vibration of pure joy. Your system just, it can't make that jump instantly. It creates this huge internal resistance.
The path isn't a giant leap. It's more like climbing a ladder.
This is where, again, Abraham Hicks's perspective is just so freeing.
You can't get there from there.
Exactly. You can't leap from deep despair or numbness straight into feeling abundant and joyful. It doesn't work like that.
Their emotional guidance scale. It's about reaching for the next bitter feeling thought, not the ultimate one.
Just one notch up, like you said, moving from despair, even just to anger. That's progress. It has more energy.
Yeah, or from deep guilt to maybe just frustration.
Yeah.
Still a step.
The momentum comes from being honest about where you are and reaching for the next believable feeling, not faking joy you don't have.
And Dr. Joe Dispenza gives us the science behind why this is so vital.
Right. He talks about how the body literally memorizes emotional states. If you've been marinating in stress or fear for a long time, your body gets conditioned. It almost gets addicted to that chemistry.
So trying to slap a high vibe thought on top of that just creates this massive internal conflict. But he's like, nope, not buying.
Exactly. And you know, it's fascinating how different teachers point to the same thing. Resmaa Menakem, his work on trauma and the body.
Yes, he says it so clearly. You can't think your way out of a body-level survival response.
Boom, right there. That's why sometimes affirmations or visualizations feel useless. Your nervous system needs proof of safety first.
You have to soothe the body. Tend to the system before the mind can really shift gears.
Okay, so if overriding is out, how do we actually do the nudging, especially when we're really stuck in those heavy states? How do we work with the body?
Great question. Because it's not just thoughts, right? It's physiological.
Right.
We mentioned the amygdala hijack. There's also stuff like the default mode network in the brain, its resting state, which could get stuck looping negative thoughts. And polyvagal theory helps understand how the nervous system shifts between safety and survival states.
Okay, so knowing that, what are the practical tools, things that meet you where you are? First, just becoming more aware of that emotional guidance scale we talked about. That awareness itself is a powerful tool.
Just knowing where you are.
Yeah, knowing where you are emotionally gives you clarity. It helps you identify what a reachable next rung actually feels like. You're less likely to try and force that impossible jump from despair to joy if you understand all the steps in between.
Okay, so emotional awareness is step one. What about our bodies? Survival mode feels so physical.
Totally. And there's some fascinating stuff here, including work by Andrew Huberman that was referenced, physiological tools that work directly with your nervous system.
Oh, cool, like bypassing the mental chatter.
Exactly. They help you kind of bypass that struggle of trying to think your way out of a feeling. The physiological sigh is a great example.
Physiological sigh, what's that?
It's super simple. A double inhale through the nose, like sniff, sniff.
Yeah.
Followed by one long, slow exhale through the mouth.
Double inhale, long exhale.
Yeah. Apparently we do this naturally sometimes, like after crying, but doing it deliberately. It rapidly helps regulate your nervous system, slows your heart rate, and creates a physical shift towards calm. It's like a direct lever you can pull on your biology.
Because that long exhale directly signals your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest part, via the vagus nerve. It tells your heart rate to slow down, dials down the stress response. It's like a quick physiological reset button. It bypasses the struggling mind.
Wow. So you don't have to feel calm to do it, but doing it helps you get calm.
Exactly. I'm going to try that later. Double inhale, long exhale. Simple. What else?
Another physical tool from similar research is dilating your gaze.
Dilating your days, like widening your eyes.
Sort of. It involves deliberately softening your focus and expanding your awareness to take in your peripheral vision, the edges of what you can see, without turning your head.
Right.
Normally, a narrow focused gaze signals heightened alertness or stress, right? Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
But consciously widening your gaze like this, especially in a safe space, stimulates a specific brainstem circuit. And doing it deliberately can actually signal to your system that the immediate threat has passed, which can induce a calming effect.
That's fascinating. It connects back to that looking at the sky idea.
Yeah.
A simple physical act for an internal shift.
Exactly. It's amazing how much leverage we can get through these simple physical anchors.
Okay, so we have body stuff. What about mental tools or ways to shift focus?
Yeah, the Abraham Hicks material offers a great one called pivoting.
Pivoting, like turning.
Kind of. It's when you notice you're focused on something unwanted. And remember, that negative emotion is your signal telling you you're focused there.
Right, the GPS.
Yes. So you consciously acknowledge it, and then you ask yourself, okay, so what is wanted? And you deliberately pivot your thought, gently turn your attention towards that desired outcome or feeling.
So you don't ignore the negative, but you don't stay stuck staring at it either.
Right.
You acknowledge it and then consciously look in a different direction.
Precisely. You see the mud, but you deliberately choose to look towards the clear path ahead.
I like that visual.
And another related tool is simply asking, which thought feels better? This is about actively using your emotional guidance system.
Okay.
If you're stuck cycling a really negative thought about a situation, you pause. You ask yourself, okay, is there a slightly less negative thought I could think? Maybe just a neutral thought, or a thought that offers just one tiny ounce of relief.
And you compare them.
Yeah, you compare how they feel in your body, and you deliberately choose the one that feels even marginally better. You're actively, consciously feeling your way up that emotional scale, one thought choice at a time.
And then there's shifting deeper states, becoming more receptive. Ideas like the Silva Method suggest you can train your brain, even from stress states, into alpha brainwaves.
Alpha waves, that's like relaxation, creativity.
Relaxation, intuition. The idea is specific relaxation practices make your mind more open to new possibilities than when it's stuck in that high alert survival thinking mode.
Yeah, that relaxed meditative zone between waking and sleeping. In alpha, the critical stressed out part of the brain quiets down.
And the imagination wakes up, the subconscious is more receptive.
Right. And in that state, you're not trying to override fear with force.
Yeah.
You're gently suggesting safety, possibility, trust, building rapport with yourself.
Not demanding performance. And I love Florence Scovel Shinn's take on this too. So direct.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Fear is just inverted faith.
Ooh, okay. Unpack that.
Think about it. If you can believe, really believe, in the worst case scenario, if you have absolute faith that things are going to go wrong.
Then you clearly know how to have faith.
Exactly. The energy, the mechanism of belief, it's there. You're just pointing it in the wrong direction, so to speak.
Wow, so the capacity to believe is still in you, even in survival mode. It's just tangled up with fear.
Yes, and the work is to gently redirect that energy, sometimes starting incredibly small.
Like, how small?
Like Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist, points out, even just changing your physical gaze, literally looking up, can stimulate brain circuits linked to alertness, to momentum.
Huh, just looking up.
Sometimes that tiny physical shift is the start of the internal one.
And Neville Goddard's law of assumption fits here too, doesn't it?
Perfectly. What you assume to be true hardens into fact. You don't have to feel it intensely at first.
You can just gently begin to assume safety, assume support is coming, assume change is possible.
Yes, even if your emotions feel flat or scared, that quiet, consistent assumption starts the wheels turning.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. Alignment, when you're in survival mode, isn't about performing perfect happiness.
No, it's about being reachable, finding those gentle thoughts, those small actions, sitting in the sun, looking up.
Those quiet assumptions that your body and your soul can actually get on board with, even if it's just...
I don't have to hold everything together today.
Yeah, that little bit of softness, that's the spark.
That's where the real manifestation begins. Not in the forced positivity, but in the honest, gentle shift from wherever you actually are.
Okay, let's do a quick recap because this understanding is so foundational. Survival mode. Not a sign you're blocked or broken.
Nope. It's your nervous system doing its job protecting you. Biology.
Don't fight it, don't judge it, understand it, and work with it.
Remember Abraham Hicks?
Yeah.
Don't try to leap the whole emotional ladder. Just reach for the next rung. Often that's just relief.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Dispenza explains the why the body memorizes stress. You can't just think your way past that conditioning instantly.
Which is why Resmaa Menakem says, tend to the body first. Soothe the system.
Start right where you are. A tiny, tiny 1% shift in how you feel, physically or emotionally or in your thoughts, that's movement. That's huge.
And remember, Florence Scovel Shinn, fear itself shows you have the power to believe. It's just inverted faith.
Point it inward. You have the energy. Just got to gently redirect it.
And sometimes, like Huberman suggests, it starts with something super simple, like looking up. Small signals spark the shift. Okay, now let's talk about a really common trap, something we do when we misunderstand all this. We call it manifestation debug mode.
I like that. Running diagnostics on your process, like where are the glitches? Where's the static messing up the signal?
Clearing out the static, finding the glitches in your programming, things running in the background you don't even realize are there.
Old beliefs we picked up somewhere.
Right. So let's switch on manifestation debug mode.
Okay. Activating debug mode.
And one of the biggest glitches, especially when you're stressed or surviving, is what we're calling the emotional override trap.
Yeah, yes. The old, if I just say the affirmation louder or visualize harder, it'll cancel out how awful I actually feel.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, your nervous system is not fooled.
Nope. Your body's basically yelling, hey brain, that's cute. But we are currently broadcasting code red because we need snacks, a blanket, and maybe some reassurance we won't be accosted by foliage.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
You can't just vibe your way out of this without tending to the actual freaking system.
You're not failing when this doesn't work. You're just trying to skip a step. You're bypassing the part of you that needs care first. The body signal is just stronger right then. If your body is screaming danger or it's shut down in that freeze response, trying to plaster on I am abundant, everything is wonderful, feels like a massive disconnect.
It feels fake because it is fake in that moment.
Right. It's trying to bypass the very real need for self-care, for safety, for acknowledging the truth of your current state.
It's like, trying to shout, I am radiating pure joy. Right after you've been crying in the grocery store parking lot.
Yeah.
It just doesn't land. It doesn't feel true.
And that dissonance, that gap, actually creates more resistance. You end up arguing with your own reality, which is exhausting.
Oh, the key isn't overriding then. It's softening.
Yes, softening. Instead of battling your current feelings, you meet them with a bit of gentleness, and you introduce a slightly different possibility. This is where that idea of assumption comes in handy.
Not forcing a feeling, but gently assuming something that feels just a little bit more true, or maybe could be true later.
Exactly. You know that Neville Goddard idea? What you assume to be true hardens into fact. So if you assume you're broken and failing, well, that reinforces that reality loop. But what if you could assume something just a bit gentler, something that feels real vibe, maybe not high vibe?
Real vibe. I like that. Acknowledging the reality of the struggle.
Yes, but gently introducing a belief that's maybe only like 5% different, but it feels believable. It feels true in a quiet way.
Can you give some examples? What does a gentle, real vibe assumption sound like?
Sure. It could be something like, maybe it won't always feel this hard, or maybe something is already shifting for me, even if I can't see it yet, or even maybe I'm already on my way to something softer, even if I don't know how.
Those feel, they feel manageable. Like you could actually think those thoughts without feeling like you're completely lying to yourself when you feel awful.
And that's where the power is. They don't trigger the nervous system's red alert because they aren't demanding this huge instant shift. They just offer a gentle opening.
They let you kind of witness the emotion, maybe soothe the system a bit by not fighting it so hard.
And trust that alignment isn't about being perfectly happy all the time. It's about being present and just willing to believe in small possibilities, tiny shifts.
And this is where Neville Goddard's idea is such a helpful upgrade. Instead of faking a feeling,
assume something gentler that feels more true, or at least possible.
Yes. So instead of forcing out, I am abundant, when you're terrified about rent, maybe try assuming. Maybe it won't always feel this hard, or maybe something is already quietly shifting for me. Those aren't ecstatic, high vibe thoughts necessarily, but they're real vibe. They resonate. They have possibility from where you actually are.
And that's where the change starts. You don't override the emotion. You witness it. You allow it.
Acknowledge it. Okay, fear, I see you.
And then gently soothe the system and reach for a thought that feels reachable, trusting that alignment doesn't require perfection. Just presence, honesty. So the fix isn't louder affirmations, it's softening.
Stop overriding. Start softening. Ask yourself really gently, what would feel just 5% more true than this deep fear right now?
Or what's the absolute gentlest thought I can manage to believe about this situation?
Or even, what if I don't need to leap? What if I just need to take one tiny step towards feeling slightly less awful?
Because even thinking, okay, this sucks, but I'm still here, like you said earlier, that is a massive vibrational upgrade from everything is terrible and I'm doomed.
Huge. That's the debug. That's resetting the signal. Not by being perfect, by being present and kind to yourself.
So the debug point is crystal clear. Trying to override intense emotion without acknowledging and tending to it creates resistance. Doesn't work.
Honor the emotion, soothe the body, then soften into what feels reachable. So how do you find that gentler step? How do you actually identify that real vibe assumption when you're in the thick of it? We've found asking simple questions can really help.
Yeah, questions like, okay, what would feel maybe 5% more true than this feeling of despair or being totally stuck?
Or what's the absolute gentlest thought I can actually believe right now, even if it's super tiny?
Or even, what if I didn't need to jump way ahead or fix everything right now? What if I could just take one small, reachable step today?
For me, back on the edge of the bed, that first step, that thought was, this sucks, but I'm still here.
Right.
That wasn't a positive thought in the usual sense, but it was 100% true in that moment. And honestly, it felt like a massive vibrational upgrade from feeling utterly consumed and just gone.
Precisely. That's how you kind of debug the signal, right?
Yeah.
Not by pretending the static doesn't exist, but by being present with it, honoring your emotions without judging them, and then gently exploring what assumption or thought feels even slightly softer, even slightly more reachable.
You aren't aiming for ecstatic joy right away. You're aiming for relief.
For honesty. For just a tiny flicker of willingness to believe something slightly better is possible.
It's about finding that tiniest little crack where a bit of light can get in without needing to feel perfectly okay first.
Okay, let's take a moment now just to integrate this a bit, to soften the world around you. Wherever you are, whatever you're feeling, there's absolutely nothing you need to fix right now, nothing to force.
Just allow yourself to be here. That's enough. It really is.
We actually have a short guided visualization called The Lantern Within that we could try together right now if you like.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a moment to gently guide ourselves toward that internal space, to maybe experience a moment of ease and connection, no matter how you happen to be feeling right now.
Okay. Let's just take a breath together. A soft inhale and a gentle exhale out. Letting go.
Let's take another breath, maybe just a little deeper this time. Inhale, feeling the air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly, letting go of any tension you notice anywhere you can.
Good. Now, with your eyes closed, if that feels comfortable for you, just begin to imagine yourself perhaps in a quiet, safe cave. It feels still and protected within these imaginary walls.
And see, deep within this safe space, notice a small, maybe steady, maybe flickering light. This light represents your essential energy, your core self. It might seem dim right now, or it might be bright. Just notice it. It is there.
Now, gently, in your imagination, place a hand nearby this light. Perhaps you can feel a gentle warmth radiating from it.
With every breath you take now, breathe gently into that light. Imagine your breath is like soft fuel, not forced air, but just a gentle suggestion. Allowing the light to gently grow if it wants to.
Not to be blinding or overwhelming, just enough brightness perhaps to help you see yourself again, truly see yourself in this quiet internal stillness.
Remember, you don't have to pretend to be happy right now. There's no pressure here to fix anything in this moment.
You're simply allowing yourself to be honest about how you feel, meeting yourself with kindness exactly where you are.
So let's breathe with that intention, breathing gently with the light within you.
Inhale deeply, perhaps letting it brighten just a little more. And exhale slowly, letting it feel steady and calm.
This light is your essential energy. It holds the truth of who you are, beneath any layers of exhaustion or overwhelm that might be present.
It holds your stories, your inherent softness, your incredible resilience, and the quiet truth of your becoming.
Remember that phrase. Even in survival mode, even in your lowest moments, your light still flickers. You have not gone out. It is always there within you.
Just breathe with that light for a few more moments. Feeling its gentle, steady presence simply being within you.
Okay. Now, as you feel ready, gently begin to bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Maybe wiggle your fingers or toes.
You can imagine sending that feeling of warmth or gentle light out with you as you re-engage with your day. Or simply allow the feeling of that steady presence to stay quietly with you.
Coming back now, wow, I hope that offered you, listening, just a moment of respite, A gentle reminder of your own inner capacity for ease.
Me too, because the core takeaways from this whole deep dive are really powerful, and honestly, they offer such relief. First, survival mode. It's a real and valid state to experience.
Yeah. And feeling that way does not mean you're broken or blocked or doing anything wrong on your manifestation path.
Absolutely not. And crucially, that idea that you have to force yourself into constant positivity,
Not only untrue,
but actually counterproductive, it just creates more resistance.
so instead of trying for those massive, unrealistic leaps in feeling,
Focus on those tiny shifts. Find the next better feeling thought. Ask yourself, what feels just 5% better?
or what would a moment of simple kindness towards myself look like right now?
Yes. And use those simple, accessible tools. Things like conscious breathing, that physiological sigh,
Softening your gaze.
deliberately pivoting your focus from unwanted to wanted.
We're just spending a few moments in gentle meditation or quiet reflection. These things help you create that incremental movement towards feeling better.
Towards allowing that stream of well-being back into your awareness, back into your experience.
Trusting your emotional guidance system, your feelings, and prioritizing honesty and allowing over-forced happiness. That seems to be the key. And that feeling, that inner light being acknowledged even when it's dark, that really is the essence of becoming. Which leads us to the core mantra, I think, that comes from all this.
Yeah, the one we take away is,
I am not broken. I am becoming.
Or maybe something like, my light is still with me, even in the dark.
These aren't affirmations meant to, like, steamroll how you feel.
No, they're acknowledgments. Acknowledgments of truth and resilience, even right in the middle of the struggle.
So just to kind of wrap up this deep dive, if you are in survival mode, please hear this. You are not failing.
Absolutely not. This state is a real biological protection response. It's not a lack of spirituality or willpower.
And you don't need to override those heavy feelings. Instead, try working with your energy. Identify the next best feeling thought, or a gentler assumption that feels reachable, even if it's tiny.
Yeah, avoid that trap of forced positivity. Find the real power in softening and asking those simple questions like, what feels 5% more true? Just find that next small step.
Your inner light, that capacity to become, it's always there, always, even if it feels really dim right now.
You are not doing it wrong if you're just trying to make it through the day. Honestly, you are doing the brave, miraculous thing. You are still showing up. Remember that.
And you don't have to be high vibe, you just have to be reachable.
That inner light, it never truly goes out. It just dims sometimes, conserving precious energy. It doesn't require perfection from you. Yeah. Just showing up with whatever level of honesty you can manage today, that's enough.
You are not behind, you are not blocked. You are exactly where your next shift begins. Right here.
So if this conversation brought you some comfort today, if it felt like maybe a breath of relief to hear that your struggle isn't a sign of failure, we really hope you'll share it. Maybe with someone else who needs to hear that survival mode is just a detour. It's not a dead end.
Yeah. And if this resonated, we'd love for you to follow Vibrations and Manifestations, maybe leave a review or even share a small, meaningful manifestation moment you experienced during a hard time. Your stories add so much to this.
Thank you so much for being with us today. And remember, you are not behind, you are not blocked, you are not doing it wrong. You're doing the brave, miraculous thing. You're still showing up.
Keep tuning into yourself.
Keep reaching for a relief.
And remember, let's clear that static and tune into magic.